Hare Krishna, hello, welcome. This is See Through with me, Achita Gopi, where we try and see through the lens of so many different people and their prayers. We try and help each other through many different ways in which we can see Krishna consciousness. We try and, as the adage goes, hold hands and walk each other home, which is a really, really, really sweet saying and adage. And it's so simple. It doesn't take too much effort. It doesn't take an extra amount of everything. It just takes us showing up for one another. So I want to thank you all for showing up and being here with me today. We have a live Zoom room for our patrons through Patreon. And we also have our live viewers on YouTube. So thank you for all of those of you who are regulars in both places. You all are completely necessary. I would not be doing this without you. It's not always easy to feel like I am one person kind of trying to handle all these different moving parts, but you all make it worth it. You all make it possible. And you all give me the drive to continue showing up and finding this sweetness every day. So we've been having some bonus episodes of See Through. Usually See Through would happen just on Mondays. And then we kind of dove into the prayers of Lord Brahma. And before we knew it, we were hooked, completely addicted. I am so hooked on these prayers. These prayers have been so incredibly sweet. We've been kind of starting and ending with some real nice sweetness, kind of make it a nice meal. And so today, I wanted to start with, there are several quotes. There's a quote, Srila Prabhupada says, if you just read this Krishna book, you will see Krishna. If you believe, then you will see Krishna. And I think that that gives us such motivation today to be able to read Krishna book. I was just listening to a morning walk where Srila Prabhupada was saying, this is the rarest book. Not only rare, but it's the rarest. There is no book throughout the world such as a book like this. And Srila Prabhupada was speaking about how these books, having them distributed, having them read, gives him solace. And he even said that once he had left the planet, that this Krishna book would give solace to his devotees. So this is our solace. This is our safe space. This is our offering. This is our place where we can come together and try and see Krishna. So on Valentine's Day, I think it's so wonderful that we get to be able to do this service. And we get to come together and we get to make Srila Prabhupada happy. Sometimes we can feel as though, why do we need to read? There was one incredibly argumentative person who asked that question. So when Srila Prabhupada said, if you believe and if you read Krishna book, you will see Krishna. He said, why do I need to read it? I could read till the cows come home. What good will that do? Srila Prabhupada said, you have to read in a submissive spirit. You have to want to learn. You have to want to understand. We cannot read with such an argumentative spirit because Krishna knows that spirit. Krishna knows, okay, these people are reading, but what is the spirit that they're reading in? And that is what Krishna is going to reciprocate with. There are so many times that I have put up short videos that speak about Ekadashi. And Ekadashi is coming on Thursday for me. So look out, there will be a early morning Ekadashi lecture on Thursday. But there have been so many times when I have put up that just by fasting simply on Ekadashi, all of our sins can be cleared away. And there have been so many people who have said, no, it can't. Oh, like, and no, how can just fasting on one day clear away all your sins? And to that I say, okay, for you it won't. It depends on the innermost belief in our hearts. So it is so important that we are reading with a heart full of wanting, yearning to understand Krishna, really wanting to see Krishna. Because just like these prayers of Lord Brahma, we started off and I was like, I am determined we're going to find the sweetness. And every day, Krishna has reciprocated. Lord Brahma has reciprocated with that eagerness to find the sweetness. So where there's a will, there's a way. We can do it. Someone is asking, can people in different countries become a patron? I believe so. Try it. I've put the link in the chat box. Head on over and try it. The memberships they range from not a lot to quite a bit. and you can choose, but definitely go on over, head over and please try. I welcome and I depend on your support so much. It is not a small feat to be able to put together live streams constantly. It takes so much. It takes paying for bandwidth, it takes paying for equipment, it takes paying for Zoom memberships, it takes paying for different kinds of memberships so that I can put out alerts and all kinds of things and everything. It's almost like if you give a mouse a cookie. If you subscribe for one service to be able to do your service, inevitably there's another cost and another cost and another cost that comes up. So every bit of the support is necessary for me. I am one person who happens to be a mom who is working and really kind of trying to support this service endeavor. I don't really do much else with my life except for serve you all. I have tried to, as much as I can, dedicate my life to serving you all and serving my daughter. So I have been trying to somehow make my spiritual master happy, make Srila Prabhupada happy, make Krishna happy through these various means of service. So on this Valentine's Day, thank you all for any and all love and support that you give. It's not necessarily like it's like, oh, I have a day job that I just go and fall back on securely. I don't. My life is my service, and I just keep trying to find new ways to serve and keep giving. So thank you. Thank you all for being monetary supports and for being emotional supports. You all are the real rock stars. So thank you. We've been reading the prayers of Lord Brahma, and we are going to pick up right where we left off, chapter 14 within the Srimad Bhagavatam, and chapter 14 in Canto 10, and chapter 14 within Krishna book. We are moving right along. We are over halfway through these prayers, and we're going to continue diving in as much as we possibly can. I will start off with the prayer that we read yesterday because I believe that it is so beautiful. Lord Brahma prays, my dear Lord, I pray that I may be so fortunate that in this life or in another life, wherever I may take birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. Wherever I may be, I pray that I may be engaged in your devotional service. I do not even care what form of life I get in the future, because I can see that even in the form of cows and calves or cowherd boys, the devotees are so fortunate to be always engaged in your transcendental loving service and association. Therefore, I wish to be one of them instead of such an exalted person as I am now, for I am full of ignorance. The gopis and cows of Vrindavan are so fortunate that they have been able to supply their breast milk to you. Persons who are engaged in performing great sacrifices and offering many valuable goats in the sacrifice cannot attain the perfection of understanding you. But simply by devotional service, these innocent village women and cows are all able to satisfy you with their milk. And one thing they would say in Vrindavan is, If Krishna did not come to steal milk, if somehow he was detained, then the cows wouldn't give it. I know that sometimes we can feel as though it is an uphill battle. How can we engage ourselves in, and of course, I don't want to get into the whole tangled mess and web of the dairy industry, but it's part of material world bureaucracy. Unfortunately, just a change of diet will not fix this material world, because this material world is fraught with suffering, and it is such a tangled web that has been weaved, and we think that we are affecting big change, and sometimes the biggest change that we can effect is just to offer our intentions and offer the best of ourselves to Krishna. Srila Prabhupada was saying in that same morning walk conversation, he was talking about all of the people who had simply ordered the books. He said somehow or other, their sinful activities will be finished. Can you imagine? Just placing the order for the books. Do we believe? Do we have faith? Srila Prabhupada has said in this connection, patram pushpam palam toyam, you offer fruit, leaf, water, anything to Krishna, he will accept it. Of course, we offer Krishna the things that he wants, but any small leaf. And not just the leaf gets the benefit, but even the tree that it came from gets the benefit. Do we believe? Sometimes we may find it hard to believe. Sometimes we may find it hard to believe that you mean to tell me that if I were to offer milk, do you know how many different cows' milk go into one store-bought gallon? You mean to tell me that those cows are going to get the benefit? Well, if I don't want to limit my Krishna, yeah. I can't limit a Krishna who Lord Brahma is now saying, look at how you've manifested yourself. And I, more than wanting to stop just one hellish condition of living entities, I want to stop the perpetual hellish condition of living entities. And I can't do that on my own. I have to offer it to Krishna. And so there are times when I know that I am a person whose diet does consist of dairy. But I am making sure that I'm offering it to Krishna intentionally, with a mindset that Krishna, these hellish conditions could easily be placed upon me. But for the grace of God go I. These hellish conditions could easily be placed upon me. I pray for your mercy. Stop permanently the hellish conditions of these living entities within this material existence, because we are all suffering. We're all suffering. Even the people who look like they've got it made, they're suffering in some way, shape, or form. But coming together, reading this Krishna book, understanding how inconceivably merciful Krishna is at heart, is so amazing. It gives the best solace to the heart, gives the most amazing help to the heart. Because sometimes we can think, okay, I've rallied together, I've gotten all the signatures, I've done all the things, this should affect some change, right? And we could still be living in a big enough bureaucracy that they say no, it doesn't. So what happens when we've tried to do all the marches? What happens when we've tried to contact every lawmaker that we can? Where do we go when our hearts are tired? We have to come back to the very beginning and call out to Krishna. I am one spirit soul. I may not be able to affect this change, but you can. And do you know why? Because Krishna lives in a Vrindavan where if he doesn't drink their milk, the cows won't give it. You know, Krishna he is called Govinda because he gives pleasure to the cows and the senses. He is so dear to cows, Brahmins, our hearts. So I have to go back to my Krishna. Krishna, please. This material world is entangling. All of our Vedic literatures say this. It is entangling. And the more we think to extract ourselves, the more bound up we become. And so then we think, well, how am I ever supposed to make this work? We are supposed to become frustrated enough to want to get out of this cycle. And so I feel slowly but surely coming to the place where I feel frustrated enough that, you know what? You're right. You're right, Lord, I can't fix this place. But there's another place. There are people who have been whispering about another place. So different from this entangling, disappointing material world. Because that is something that is certain. We will be disappointed here. Even if you love me, I am going to disappoint you at some point. I'm going to disappoint you because I am one small jiva, limited in my capacity. Krishna is unlimited, and so he doesn't disappoint, but I'm not Krishna. And so one thing that is for sure here in this material world is that we will be disappointed. What do we do with those disappointments? Are we allowing them to spur us onto the understanding of, okay, ultimately, this is not our real home. And I've heard whispers of what our real home is like. Lord Brahma is telling us about what our real home is like. And I love that for us. So let's hear what else Lord Brahma has to say about our real home. You have drunk their milk to satisfaction, yet you are never satisfied because you are never satisfied by those engaged in performing sacrifices. This is a Brahma who has performed innumerable sacrifices. His whole planet is filled with sacrifices. And now he's really understanding that Krishna is more satisfied with the loving milk from the body of a simple village woman who has not studied all the Vedas. He's more satisfied with that milk than he is by all of the sacrifices that have ever been done. And so Lord Brahma says, I am simply surprised, therefore, with the fortunate position of Maharaj Nanda, Mother Jashoda, and the cowherd men and gopis, because you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, are existing here as their most intimate, lovable object. This is Valentine's Day for me. My dear Lord, no one can actually appreciate the good fortune of the residents of Vrindavan. We are all demigods controlling deities of the various senses of the living entities, and we are proud of enjoying such privileges. But actually, there's no comparison between our position and the position of these fortunate residents of Vrindavan, because they are actually relishing your presence and enjoying your association by dint of their activities. We may be proud of being controllers of the senses, but here the residents of Vrindavan are so transcendental that they are not under our control. Actually, they are enjoying the senses through service to you. I shall therefore consider myself fortunate to be given a chance to take birth in this land of Vrindavan in any of my future lives. That is something. Do we really believe that we can enjoy our senses through service to Krishna? Or do we think that as we give our service to Krishna, then we are just left, bereft. Do we believe that we can satisfy our senses through Krishna? Do we believe that Krishna is Govinda, who can give pleasure to our senses as we give ourselves in service to him? It's an interesting question to ask ourselves as we continue on in our Krishna consciousness. Am I feeling Krishna? Do I believe that I can feel Krishna? Am I giving myself the opportunity to somehow or other engage my senses in Krishna's service and then allow Krishna to love me? Because sometimes the problem is that our hearts will not allow us ourselves to love Krishna and for Krishna to love us. But Lord Brahma is saying, it's true for the residents of Vrindavan. They are enjoying the senses, but through service to Krishna. My dear Lord, Brahma continues, I am therefore not interested in either material opulences or liberation. I am most humbly praying at your lotus feet for you to please give me any sort of birth within this Vrindavan forest, so that I may be able to be favored by the dust of the feet of some of the devotees of Vrindavan. If I am given the chance to grow just as the humble grass in this land, that will be a glorious birth for me. But if I am not so fortunate to take birth within the forest of Vrindavan, I beg to be allowed to take birth outside the immediate area of Vrindavan, so that when the devotees go out, they will walk over me. Even that would be a great fortune for me. I am just aspiring for a birth in which I will be smeared by the dust of the devotees' feet. Lord Brahma just wishes to be in close proximity to devotees. We have met devotees. We have gotten the blessing that Lord Brahma is hankering after. We have such amazing good fortune, friends. This is the best Valentine's Day ever because we are in contact with devotees. We should not feel as though Krishna has left us. Krishna has given us the greatest fortune we could ever have. This is our Valentine's Day gift, that we've come in contact with devotees. And Lord Brahma himself is hankering, begging the Lord, just let me come in contact with your devotees. For if I come in contact with your devotees, my life will be made perfect. Friends, hold on to this good fortune. Don't let the mind trick us into thinking that there is something better. Don't let the mind trick us into thinking that there's something better than this Krishna consciousness. There isn't. Without it, we are struggling. Sometimes with it, we are struggling. But the struggle when we are in Krishna consciousness is infinitely sweeter than struggling without it. So if you have felt like you are struggling, even in Krishna consciousness, I feel you. I'm here with you. But that kind of struggle in Krishna consciousness is sweeter than struggling in the material world without it. I would be so lost without Krishna consciousness. I would be depressed. My mental anguishes and anxieties would have overtaken me. I honestly do not think I would be here today without Krishna consciousness, without Srila Prabhupada painstakingly writing, dictating, giving these commentaries, this knowledge, traveling across seas for 40 days to just try and give Krishna consciousness to people that everyone else thought they don't deserve it. They don't have any qualification. Srila Prabhupada did not think like that, and instead he decided to give all the love in his heart to try and make others Krishna conscious, because he knew that the struggle in this material world without Krishna consciousness is unfathomable. We cannot fight this system. We can't fight the system of the material world. Material energy, she is very powerful. Parvati Devi is so powerful. We cannot fight that system. But with Krishna's help, we can simply cross over it. When she sees that we are completely heart and soul to our Lord, she says, that is also my Lord. Please let me escort you closer. Once Parvati Devi, once material nature, material energy sees that we have surrendered completely to Krishna, she removes the obstacles and then becomes the very person, the mother who ushers us into the presence of Krishna. Let me personally introduce you to my Lord. You have become worthy. The trick is to take the other desires out of the heart. And by other desires, I mean the desires for me to be in charge. It's natural to want to enjoy ourselves. That ananda is naturally there. So that is not an unnatural desire. It is natural to want to love others. That prema is there within Krishna. So it is natural for us to want to love each other, to communicate with each other, to enjoy. The problem comes when we want to be the center focus, when we want to be in charge of it all. And that is the desire that needs to be rooted out of the heart. And once we do that, then material nature says, oh, now I'm just like your loving mother. No longer here for chastisement, but here to usher you into the presence of our divine friend. So we have today what Lord Brahma is hankering after. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that the purpose of Vedic knowledge is to find Krishna. That has been my mission statement with see-through, with the past few years of my life. I've been telling my friends, I just have to find Krishna. I have to find Krishna. In whatever situation I am in life and wherever I find myself, I need to find Krishna. Help me. Can you help me find Krishna? So the perfect purpose of Vedic knowledge is to find Krishna. And it is said in the Brahma Samhita that it is very difficult to find Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by systematic reading of the Vedic literature. Krishna understands how hard it is, but he is very easily available through the mercy of a pure devotee. The pure devotees of Vrindavan are fortunate because they can see Mukunda, Lord Krishna, all the time. The word Mukunda can be understood in two ways. Muk means liberation. Lord Krishna can give liberation and therefore transcendental bliss. The word also refers to his smiling face, which is just like the kunda flower. Mukha also means face. The kunda flower is very beautiful, and it appears to be smiling. Thus, the comparison is made. The difference between the pure devotees of Vrindavan and other devotees is that the residents of Vrindavan have no other desire but to be associated with Krishna. Krishna, being very kind to his devotees, fulfills their desires. Because they always want Krishna's association, the Lord is always prepared to give it to them. The devotees of Vrindavan are also spontaneous lovers. They do not follow the regulative principles. They are not required to strictly follow regulative principles because they are already naturally developed in transcendental love for Krishna. Regulative principles are required for persons who have not achieved the position of transcendental love. Brahma is also a devotee of the Lord, but he is subject to follow the regulative principles. So if you ever think, why do I have to follow these japa rounds and regulative principles? Why can't I just do and love Krishna as I want? Even Lord Brahma has to follow regulative principles. So don't feel left out. Even Lord Brahma. He prays to Krishna to give him the chance to take birth in Vrindavan so that he might be elevated to the platform of spontaneous love. It is possible. We can rise to the occasion. Srila Prabhupada actually had hope and faith in us. So many times Srila Prabhupada would say, if even one of my disciples becomes a pure devotee, the whole mission is successful. Even if a grand disciple becomes a pure devotee, the whole mission is successful. One person, if they become a pure devotee, the entire mission is successful, which means he had faith that someone could become a pure devotee. This is astonishing. Srila Prabhupada has faith in us. Friends, let's rise to the occasion. Let's rise to the challenge. Is it a challenge? Yes, because our minds and our hearts are used to the conditioning. Now tell me, I surrender to no one. Why should I surrender? What's in it for me? We can override that programming. It is a little bit like software programming, but we can override that programming. And we can tap into the faith that Srila Prabhupada had in us, that we can follow the regulative principles, that we can chant japa every day. And by that simple process of following the regulative principles, by chanting every day, by coming together and even reading just a little bit, we can become perfect. Srila Prabhupada believed it. Why shouldn't we? Lord Brahma continued, "My lord, sometimes I am puzzled as to how your lordship will be able to repay, in gratitude, the devotional service of these residents of Vrindavan. Although I know that you are the supreme source of all benediction, I am puzzled to know how you will be able to repay all the service that you are receiving from the residents of Vrindavan. I think of how you are so kind, so magnanimous, that even Putana, who came to cheat you by dressing herself as a very affectionate mother, was awarded liberation and the actual post of a mother. And other demons belonging to the same family, such as Agasura and Bakasura, were also favored with liberation. Under the circumstances, I am puzzled. And aren't we all? We are also puzzled. These residents of Vrindavan have given you everything, their bodies, their minds, their love, their homes. Everything is being utilized for your purpose. So how will you be able to repay their debt? You have already given yourself to Putana. I surmise that you shall ever remain a debtor to the residents of Vrindavan, being unable to repay their loving service. And indeed, he is." Shri Krishna himself later says in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, "Na paryeham." Oh gopis, I can never repay you. Oh residents of Vrindavan, I can never repay you. You are asking me about repayment and how I can reciprocate your love. I can't. So for now, you have to be satisfied with your love, because what can I give you? Krishna is rendered speechless by their love. But he does do something extraordinary. Krishna is a thief. And so when he sees that he cannot repay them, he says, I have to find out what this love is that is in their hearts. And so he peers into the hearts of those wonderful devotees of Vrindavan. And then, because he's a thief, he steals all that love. He says, there's no way for me to repay you except for maybe to somehow put myself in your position. And so he appears as our golden, magnanimous Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, filled with the love of the devotees. That love is so full in his heart that Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj says it becomes like a spewing volcano. It has built up, all of this love has built up within the heart of Mahaprabhu, and then it comes spilling out. He says almost like vomiting. He says, so it's an outpour. It is gushing forward. And what is gushing forward? Love of Krishna. Krishna prema in all directions to any and everyone. No longer looking for stringent qualifications. He is just giving Krishna prema. That is the only way he has found to try and repay the debt that he has incurred to the residents of Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is our golden, magnificent Lord of love. How can we ever repay our magnanimous Lord? How incredible. One friend is asking, I know it's unforgivable when we offend a devotee, but all the Brajbasis are devotees of Krishna. So when Putana killed all those Brajbasis, why did he still give her the place of a mother and award her liberation in Goloka? That is such a beautiful question. The secret of the mystery of this pastime of Putana was that Putana was able to make some offenses and kill children outside of Vrindavan, where the names of Krishna are constantly chanted. No evil forces can enact themselves there. And so Putana was not able to actually create damage within Vrindavan proper. So she was actually saved because of Vrindavan's potency and power. And so it says, even in the pastime of Putana, she was actually not able to exert her influence within Vrindavan. It was only outside of Vrindavan. So how cool is that? So Krishna made a way. And I think once we start to surrender really fully to Krishna, Krishna makes ways in which we are not able to put ourselves into a worse situation. So sometimes we might think, I was trying to do something. I was trying to, make a situation happen and have a job or do this. And it seems like Krishna is putting roadblock after roadblock in my path. Like, what is the deal? Krishna, I'm just trying to maintain myself. But sometimes that is protection. Krishna is protecting us from placing ourselves into a situation that might be detrimental for us. And he's also preparing us for big, big blessings that we can't get if we put ourselves into detrimental situations. So Krishna is really our maintainer and protector. And he's protecting us from things we don't even know about. And so there are times when I really let that sink in. And I thank Krishna for his mercy and his guidance and for protecting me from all the things I don't even know about. I love it. We've been getting into all the mysteries and the intricacies of all of these leelas and pastimes. Thank you. Lord Brahma continues. My lord, I can understand that the super excellent service of the residents of Vrindavan is due to their spontaneously engaging all natural instincts in your service. It is said that attachment for material objects and home is due to illusion, which makes a living entity conditioned in the material world. But this is only the case for persons who are not in Krishna consciousness. In the case of the residents of Vrindavan, such obstructions as attachment to hearth and home are non-existent, because their attachment has been converted unto you, and their home has been converted into a temple, because you are always there, and because they have forgotten everything for your sake. There is no impediment. For a Krishna conscious person, there is no such thing as impediments in hearth and home, nor is there illusion. Friends, your relationships, your families, your homes are not an illusion if you are Krishna conscious. These relationships help us, because now our families are the people that we run to and we say, tell me about Krishna. I'm having a bad day, help me. Read to me about Krishna. Our homes are the places where everywhere we look, there are pictures of our dear most supreme friend. These are not attachments to be given up and renounced. These are the devotees, and the dust of their feet is meant to be clung to. With everything we've got, we cling to these sanghas. Maybe for somebody else, the internet would be a distraction, something to be renounced. But for us, it is our virtual Vrindavan Dham. And I pay my obeisances unendingly to this space, because this is non-different from Vrindavan. Even though we have viewers who are actually in Vrindavan, they are also non-different from Vrindavan. But this space, right here, right now, is non-different from Vrindavan. Wherever you are, this is not to be renounced, not a space to be given up. Instead, we hold tight to each other like little otters, hoping not to float away. I can also understand that your appearance as a small cowherd boy a child of the cowherd men, is not at all a material activity. You are so much obliged by their affection that you are here to enthuse them with more loving service by your transcendental presence. In Vrindavan, there is no distinction between material and spiritual because everything is dedicated to your loving service. My dear Lord, your Vrindavan pastimes are simply to enthuse your devotees. If someone takes your Vrindavan pastimes to be material, he will be misled. So can we imagine? Maybe we have a home, maybe we have a family. I have done such service to a devotee of Krishna. I get to serve Krishna's devotees every day. And in such an intimate way. You're picking up other people's socks, and you're cleaning their bathrooms, and you're cooking for them, and you're counseling them, and you're comforting them, but this is all for Krishna's devotees. Every day, you are doing such incredible service. If you have parents that you are serving, and you're thinking, I am doing this for you, Krishna, because I know, even though they may not outwardly look like devotees, there is a Paramatma in their heart. So I can serve Krishna through looking for that Paramatma in the heart. I can serve those parents. I can have a job knowing that this will enable me to serve you, Krishna, every day. And all it takes is me thinking about you. I can be in school understanding that, oh Krishna, this will enable me to serve you and your devotees, no matter what we're studying. And so, for devotees whose minds are like that, there is no impediment. For Srila Prabhupada, he did not consider it an impediment. He just thought, Krishna, through heart attack, stroke, whatever, he said, please, if you allow me some more time, I feel as though I haven't served you to my heart's content. Through preaching his message. Srila Prabhupada had done all the chanting and the serving. He didn't need to do any of this for his own benefit. But he had such a yearning to make this miracle, all of these miracles, available for everyone. So he begged Krishna for more time, wherein which there would be suffering that was linked to this body. But he took that on gratefully, asking for more suffering linked to the body just so that he would be able to serve. This is not to be given up. We don't have to give up our homes. We don't have to give up our families. We don't have to give up our jobs. All we have to do is bring our minds back to what was the ultimate goal. What is our mission statement? Where can I find Krishna in this? My dear Lord Krishna, those who deride you, claiming that you have a material body like an ordinary man, are described in the Bhagavad Gita as demonic and less intelligent. You are always transcendental. The non-devotees are cheated because they consider you to be a material creation. Actually, you have assumed this body, which resembles that of an ordinary cowherd boy, simply to increase the devotion and transcendental bliss of your devotees. My dear Lord, I have nothing to say about people who advertise that they have already realized God, or that by their realization they have themselves become God. But as far as I am concerned, Lord Brahma says, I admit frankly that for me, it is not possible to realize you by my body, mind, or speech. What can I say about you? Or how can I realize you by my senses? I cannot even think of you perfectly within my mind, which is the master of the senses. This is Lord Brahma. He has spent thousands of years thinking. It's what he does best. He thinks. And he says, I can't even think about you perfectly. What to speak of us? I can't think about you perfectly, Lord. I know it. And that is not the qualification for loving Krishna. I can't think about you perfectly. And Lord Brahma is about to tell us that that doesn't matter. And I'm so glad that that doesn't matter. Because if that was the qualification, I would be waiting here for forever. I would never get there, and I would feel like this goal is unattainable. I want to give up. I give up, it's too hard. Lord Brahma is about to tell us that it doesn't have to be too hard. Your body cannot be conceived by any person within this material world. Only by your mercy can one understand to some extent what you are. My dear Lord, you are the supreme Lord of all creation, although I sometimes falsely think that I am the master of this universe. I may be the master of this universe, but there are innumerable universes, and there are innumerable Brahmas also who preside over these universes. Literally, sometimes Brahma has seen other Brahmas with greater potency, and he has become like bewildered, like what is happening? But actually, you are the master of them all. As the super soul in everyone's heart, you know everything. Please, therefore, accept me as your surrendered servant. If we pray no other prayer except for that, it's enough. Krishna, I don't know the right words to say to you. And what will my small metaphors do in comparison to your nature? I can't even conceive of the color blue that you are. But please just accept me as your surrendered servant. We can't give Krishna anything that he has never seen before. We can't. He's seen it all. What we can give is a feeling that intrigues him, a feeling of love and service where he thinks, oh, this is what catches the eye of the Supreme Beloved. I could have the best voice in the universe, and I guarantee you Krishna's voice is better. I could have the best realization, and Krishna's realization will be beyond that. But I can feel something for him within my heart. And that will make the Supreme Person come running. That's inconceivable to me. I am simply baffled that the love in my one little jiva heart could somehow conquer, as Lord Brahma said at the very beginning of these prayers, you're not conquered by anything, but the person who loves you, you become conquered by them. You are Ajita, unconquerable. You become conquered just by the love in one little jiva's heart. That I can do. That mission is not impossible. I can love Krishna. I hope that you will excuse me for disturbing you in your pastimes with your friends and calves. Now, if you will kindly allow me, I will immediately leave, so you can enjoy your friends and calves without my presence. My dear Lord Krishna, your very name suggests that you are all attractive. The attraction of the sun and the moon are all due to you. By the attraction of the sun, you are beautifying the very existence of the Yadu dynasty. With the attraction of the moon, you are enhancing the potency of the land, the demigods, the brahmanas, the cows, and the oceans. Because of your supreme attraction, demons like Kamsa and others are annihilated. Therefore, it is my deliberate conclusion that you are the only worshipable deity within the creation. Accept my humble obeisances until the annihilation of this material world. That is as cute as saying, accept my obeisances until the end of time. As long as there is sunshine within this material world, kindly accept my humble obeisances. This is the kind of love that we can strive for Valentine's Day. Oh my Lord, just accept my love till the end of time. We all want to, sing those songs about endless love, and then everybody has a song about till the end of time, and I'm going to love you forever, and all this stuff, and we're going to be disappointed. Because it's the nature of the material world. We're going to be a little disappointed. Because the end of time comes sooner than we think. But with Krishna, we can give that wholeheartedly, even knowing, Lord, I'm not going to be perfect and I'm going to fail, but I will love you until the end of time. Until the annihilation of this material creation, just accept my humble obeisances. I will love you till the end of this world and this creation as we know it. In this way, Brahma, the master of this universe, after offering humble and respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and circumambulating him 3 times, was ready to return to his abode known as Brahmaloka. By his gesture, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gave him permission to return. As soon as Brahma left, Lord Sri Krishna immediately appeared as he had on the very day the cows and cowherd boys had vanished. Krishna had left his friends on the bank of the Jamuna while they were engaged in lunch, and although he returned exactly 1 year later, the cowherd boys thought that he had returned within a second. That is the way of Krishna's different energies and activities. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna himself is residing in everyone's heart, and he causes both remembrance and forgetfulness. All living entities are controlled by the supreme energy of the Lord, and sometimes they remember, and sometimes they forget their constitutional position. His friends, being controlled in such a way, could not understand that for 1 whole year they were absent from the Jamuna bank and were under the spell of Brahma's illusion. When Krishna appeared before the boys, they thought, Krishna has returned within a minute. They began to laugh, thinking that Krishna was not willing to leave their lunchtime company. They were very jubilant and invited him. Dear friend Krishna, you've come back so quickly. All right, we have not as yet begun our lunch, not even taken 1 morsel of food. So please come and join us and let us eat together. Krishna smiled and accepted their invitation, and he began to enjoy the lunchtime company of his friends. While eating, Krishna was thinking, these boys believe that I have come back within a second, but they do not know that for the last year I've been involved with the mystic activities of Lord Brahma. After finishing their lunch, Krishna and his friends and calves began to return to their Vrajbhumi homes. While passing, they enjoyed seeing the dead carcass of Aghasura in the shape of a gigantic serpent. When Krishna returned home to Brajbhumi, he was seen by all the inhabitants of Vrindavan. He was wearing a peacock feather in his helmet, which was also decorated with forest flowers. Krishna was also garlanded with flowers and painted with different colored minerals collected from the caves of Govardhan Hill. Govardhan Hill is always famous for supplying natural red dyes, and Krishna and his friends painted their bodies with them. Each of them had a bugle made of buffalo horn, and a stick and a flute, and each called his respective calves by their particular names. They were so proud of Krishna's wonderful activities that while entering the village, they all sang his glories. All the gopis in Vrindavan saw beautiful Krishna entering the village. The boys composed nice songs describing how they were saved from being swallowed by the great serpent and how the serpent was killed. Some described Krishna as the son of Yashoda, and others as the son of Nanda Maharaj. He is so wonderful that he saved us from the clutches of the great serpent and killed him, they said. But little did they know that 1 year had passed since the killing of Aghasura. In this regard, Maharaj Parikshit asked Shukadev Goswami how the inhabitants of Vrindavan suddenly developed so much love for Krishna, although he was not a member of any of their families. Maharaj Parikshit inquired, during the absence of the original cowherd boys, when Krishna expanded himself, why is it that the boys' parents became more loving toward him than toward their own sons? Also, why did the cows become so loving toward the calves more than toward their own calves? Shukadev Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit that every living entity is actually most attached to his own self. This is something that I know. I want to surrender to Krishna, but I love myself more. Outward paraphernalia, such as home, family, friends, country, society, wealth, opulence, reputation, etc., are all only secondary in pleasing the living entity. They please only because they bring pleasure to the self. Right? I love this country because my country. Love this family because my family. For this reason, one is self-centered and is attached to his body and self more than he is to relatives like wife, children, and friends. If there is some immediate danger to one's own person, he first of all takes care of himself, then others. That is natural. That means more than anything else, he loves his own self. The next important object of affection after his own self is his material body. A person who has no information of the spirit soul is very much attached to his material body, so much so that even in old age, he wants to preserve the body in so many artificial ways, thinking that his old and broken body can be saved. Everyone is working hard day and night just to give pleasure to his own self under either the bodily or spiritual concept of life. We are attached to material possessions because they give pleasure to the senses or to the body. The attachment to the body is there only because the I, the spirit soul, is within the body. Similarly, when one is further advanced, he knows that the spirit soul is pleasing because it is part and parcel of Krishna. Ultimately, it is Krishna who is pleasing and is all attractive. He is the super soul of everything. And in order to give us this information, Krishna descends and tells us that the all-attractive center is he himself. Without being an expansion of Krishna, nothing can be attractive. Whatever is attractive within this cosmic manifestation is due to Krishna. And I have said that to my friends, and I've said that to others. You may think that something that I've said is attractive. You may think that I might be attractive. I will disappoint you, because what you have been connecting with is Krishna in the heart. I try to be an instrument. I will try to help. But ultimately, I am a jiva. I am not our all-attractive Lord. But we all have some minute, some small opulence of Krishna's. We are all but sparks of his splendor. And so I try to remember that. Sometimes I'll see people and I think, oh my God, that person is wow. Just wow. You ever see somebody that you're just like, I just want to be around them because my God, they're really attractive. And then I try to remind myself what I'm seeing is Krishna's effulgence. I am seeing Krishna's mercy and blessings upon this person. If we think of people who are famous, I am seeing Krishna's effulgence there. That's not them. Because at any moment, that effulgence can leave. That body is gone, and then what? What are we attracted to? That soul moves on from that body and does not look back. What are we attracted to? We are attracted to Krishna's effulgence that we are seeing. We are like moths drawn to that Krishna flame. So it is quite humbling to often tell myself, it's not me. But it's true. It's not me. And then sometimes we gather together around the people that we see inhabiting Krishna's spark more than others. And that's okay. We can understand that this person has been empowered by Krishna in my life. But we can remember that this empowerment is coming from Krishna. So whatever is attractive within the cosmic manifestation is due to Krishna. Krishna is therefore the reservoir of all pleasure. The active principle of everything is Krishna, and highly elevated transcendentalists see everything in connection with him. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is stated that a Mahabhagavat, or highly advanced devotee, sees Krishna as the active principle in all movable and immovable living entities. And in this regard, people would tell Srila Prabhupada, just look at this beautiful sunrise. And he said, you should see the painter, like you should see the artist. Therefore, he sees everything within this cosmic manifestation in relation to Krishna. For the fortunate person who has taken shelter of Krishna as everything, liberation is already there. He is no longer in this material world. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Whoever is engaged in the devotional service of Krishna is already on the Brahma Bhuta, or spiritual platform. The very name Krishna suggests piety and liberation. Anyone who takes shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna enters the boat for crossing over the ocean of nescience. For him, this vast expansion of the material manifestation becomes as insignificant as a hoofprint. Krishna is the center of all great souls, and he is the shelter of the material worlds. For one who is on the platform of Krishna consciousness, Vaikuntha, or the spiritual world, is not far away. He does not live within the material world where there is danger at every step. In this way, Krishna consciousness was fully explained by Shukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. Shukadev Goswami even recited to the king the statements and prayers of Lord Brahma. These descriptions of Lord Krishna's pastimes with his cowherd boys, his eating with them on the bank of the Jamuna, and Lord Brahma's prayers unto him, are all transcendental subject matters. Anyone who hears, recites, or chants them surely gets all his spiritual desires fulfilled. Thus Krishna's childhood appearance, his sporting with Balaram in Vrindavan, was described. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 14th chapter of Krishna, prayers offered by Lord Brahma to Lord Krishna. We did it. And got a benediction. Everyone got a Valentine's Day present. Anyone who simply hears these pastimes gets all of their desires fulfilled. That is my prayer for all of you. For sticking with me through this week and a half journey through these prayers, for encouraging all of this sweetness. I pray so much that all of your desires are fulfilled. Thank you. Like more emotional than I thought it was going to be. But in the good way. In a way of thinking about these cowherd boys, thinking, oh, friend Krishna, you've come back. You were only gone for a minute. You said you would go look for the cows, but you came back so quickly. We think you don't want to be away from us. We'll come back and sit down. We haven't even started. We haven't even taken one morsel of food without you. And Krishna is thinking, my friends think I've been here for just a moment, not knowing that we've passed a year away from each other. I am thinking that I am coming in contact with Krishna now, not understanding the lifetimes that I've passed being under the illusory potency of material nature. I've been separated from Krishna for so long, but Krishna, you've come back into my life by your own will. It's nothing I could have done. You've come back into my life by your own sweet will. And it seems as though it's just been a moment. One lifetime. I never want to forget. Like the people of Vrindavan, let us make songs every day about how Krishna has saved us. Let us talk about it every day. Just when I think that the goals are unobtainable, Krishna shows me that they are. Just when I think, Krishna, you've abandoned me. You've left me. I'm stuck here in this material world. What do I have? He comes rushing in and says, I'm not far away. I've never been far away from you. Let me not be tripped up by the very convincing arguments of my mind. Go away, mind. You have no power here. It's like that line from The Wizard of Oz. when Glenda the Good Witch is like, be gone with you. You have no power here. Go before somebody drops a house on you. That's how I feel like I want to talk to my mind. You have no power here. This heart is Krishna's abode, Krishna's temple. And you will never convince me that he is far away from me ever again. I am living on Krishna's mercy. I am living proof of Krishna's mercy. I would not be here without Krishna's mercy. I was a child born too early, born too small, too underdeveloped. I should not be here. But through the chanting of the holy name and the reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm here. I am living proof that Krishna's mercy exists. It is real and it can save us. It can help us. Above all, it can love us with a love greater than we've ever felt or even hoped to feel. On this Valentine's Day, I just want to remind us all that Krishna's love is so real and present in our lives. Thank you all for being here with me. We did it! I feel like when you start a sacrifice and then you complete the sacrifice and you're like, oh man, that was like a big deal. It was such a big deal and such a pleasurable sacrifice. Best thing ever. Best decision ever to just go with it. So for any and all of you that would like to spend Valentine's Day evening or early morning with me, you can. I'm holding a Zoom event. You have to register for it on my website, but I am holding a Zoom event with the hopes that you will hopefully just gather with me. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about Kubja, because that's one of my favorites in Prema Mala. And we are also going to be privy to some pieces that I've been working on that haven't been released. So you'll get a chance to kind of hear where I'm going with those pieces. There's some things that I've been working on that even made me feel a little bit like, oh, like happy tears. So I'll share a little bit of those, because why not? We should all spoil ourselves. And if you cannot make this session, please reach out to me and let me know, because that will kind of determine if I decide to give another one. So please reach out, let me know that there's an interest. Let me know that the service means something. And for those of you who are already here and have already reserved your spot for this evening, I am looking forward to seeing you this evening, getting it together. I will, you know, I'm actually gonna look official. It's gonna be great. We'll get together, we'll hear, we'll chant, we'll have a great time. We'll even have Q&A. You get to let me know what you think about the pieces. It's gonna be so good. Yes, be really interested in the other pieces, because they are very cool. Other pieces, very cool, very awesome. So I can't wait to share them with all of you in this nice little cozy, safe space. I'm trying to create a virtual living room. You know, let's see what we can do. So I'll see you all then. If you reserved your spot and you don't have a link yet, write me personally and let me know. You might have to check your spam, but there should have been a link email sent out immediately right after you reserved it. If you don't have it, just let me know and I will send you the link. Other than that, I love you all. Krishna Book ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to this most awesome Valentine's Day, where we did the best thing ever on Valentine's. We did the best thing. I feel like Krishna is so happy, and I feel like Lord Brahma is so pleased. I feel like everybody in the whole three worlds is pleased, because by pleasing Krishna, we made everybody happy. This is better than chocolates. especially because I don't really like chocolate that much. Better than any of it. Better than all of it. I am gonna go and get a Valentine's Day darshan ready for you all for Anantadev so that I can plaster him on the internet so that he can be your supreme Valentine, because he's very cute. And I'll see you all soon. Jishurada Govinda Dev ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Both external and virtual. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi ki jai. Thank you for being rock stars.